Hey everybody, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 17, and welcome back to Gwenddwr. It is still the third day of spring. I was thinking about skipping ahead to tomorrow in-game, day 4, day 5, and then getting the dairy open, but I realized something. I realized if we opened the dairy, we would need to buy silage bales, we'd need to buy forage, we need to do something, whereas for our pigs, we've got wheat, barley, canola, plenty of soybeans. We've got corn. We don't have any root crops, but we've got the pig forage mixer. And I believe, we're going to find out right now, I believe the pig forage mixer will let us, will let us make pig food without root crop. I think we can use, well, we'll see. I went down and looked at the different titles. Hang on, concentrating. Titles, what am I saying? The ingredients. Ingredients, all right? It's like we're baking a cake. I looked at the different additives, the things that you're supposed to put into the pig food mixer to make pig food. And I did not see root crop. So we're going to try it, and hopefully we can get that working. And if we can't, I do have a mod downloaded and installed that will allow us to buy pallets of potatoes. So, step one, let us head down to the silo. Oh, and before we leave, I got a comment from somebody. I think they were asking, is there a silo on the farm? I never found one. I have not found one. I've looked in all of these places and I cannot see a silo here. This is our milking parlor. And it's not in this building. It's not in this building. If I'm wrong, you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's not in this building. It's not here. Try not to throw the camera around. I think they were asking about this one because there is a grain dryer, dehumidifier there. And these are all just root crop. And then over here, this is, right, just parking. Parking there. And then this is the other side of the dairy. So we've got a slurry tank there. And then this is our cows here. I don't see a silo anywhere on this property. And the map really isn't, whoa, the map really isn't that big for it to be anywhere else. So I think the only silo is the one over by, it's over by the pigs. Now the food mixer is then over by the sell point. So we can't, it's not like we just have to take our ingredients back and forth across one yard from the pipe to the mixer. We do have to take them up and over, which is not a big deal. It's a small map. So we'll get that going. Man, it's a Monday for me. And I've been on the struggle bus. I feel like perhaps the stress from the thing that cannot be spoken of, that dang old coronavirus that's really messing up the works for everybody. I feel like the stress might be finally getting to me a little bit. It's been kind of a rough weekend. I was on the struggle bus. I was literally on the struggle bus. I feel like I've tried every transport simulator made now. This weekend I tried OMSI 2. Ooh. And I tried one called Zusi, Z-U-S-I. Now, I've heard people say OMSI, and I've heard people say OMSI. I've heard people say Zusi, and I've heard people say Z-U-S-I. And what those are, OMSI, you know about, OMSI 2 is a bus simulator. Zusi is a very realistic, it's not even a train simulator. It's like a training tool for German rail operators, German train drivers. And the graphics are, I don't want to say they're terrible, but the game is not focused on being pretty. It's focused on absolute realism. So I thought Train Sim World was somewhat realistic. I mean, I know it's not entirely realistic because it is not entirely realistic that a citizen, such as myself, old Ill Will, could hop into a train and within a few minutes be operating it. That's not realistic. It takes weeks, months to learn how to operate a train. So I know Train Sim World is not entirely realistic, but I felt like it had some realism and some safety systems. And then I got on Zusi, and for one thing, it's all in German. There's really no tutorial to speak of, and I don't recall if this gate swings in or out. So let's park back here a ways just in case it swings out. And it does. All right. So it's a very, very realistic game. But I have to say, it was not the most fun. I couldn't really even figure it out. And as much as I struggle with the PZB, LZB in Train Sim World, and that is pretty simplified and dumbed down, and in some ways made very easy. And yeah, there are a lot of safety systems and a lot of rules. Yeah. So Zusi I did not have good luck with. OMSI 2, I mean, there is... Let's get this full first. Let's put all of our wheat in. We can't sell wheat for very much, so I think it's okay to use all of this in our pig food. There's definitely a split when it comes to sim gaming. Some people want absolute realism at the price of graphical quality and immersion, and other people want graphical quality and immersion, even if we have to compromise a little bit on accuracy and realism. I think the most popular sims are sort of in the middle, you know, where we have enough realism that we can feel like we're doing something, but enough immersion and enough, the graphics are pretty enough that we enjoy ourselves, right? That we feel like we're in a world, we're in a place, rather than just participating in a technical exercise. And that was how Zusi felt for me, right? This is, there's a lot of things to do here. A lot of nuts and bolts required to operate a German high-speed locomotive, but it felt like a NASA simulation, right? We're in the mock-up of the capsule, and we're just going through the motions over and over and over until it becomes second nature and we can safely operate that train. So we don't really need any type of environmental stimulus or input. We don't need to be immersive. We're just going through the motions. That was how Zusi struck me. And I also tried, what was the other one? Lotus Simulator. That's early access, but it has very much an OMSI 2 feel. I'm told it's the same development studio. Don't know if that's true or not, but it has a very similar feel. What I would describe as like a 2D cockpit flight deck. Now they say it's 3D, but not quite there yet. I've heard people say that the graphics in Lotus are phenomenal. I didn't find that to be the case. To me, it looked like about a 2005 game. But it will have at some point trolleys, it will have buses, it will have trams. There's even supposed to be a flight aspect to it. I know we're in the trees here. I think, to me, that is, I mean, they're what's a nice way to say this? They seem to be struggling to get the buses and trams working, and flight is like a whole nother animal. So yeah, tried Zusi, tried OMSI 2, I tried Lotus. Fernbus I quite like, but I was not able to get it working. I got the game to start twice out of about 40 tries. I just kept getting Unreal crashes. And customer support, really not super helpful. Ended up on a forum with, you know my thoughts on letting a forum handle your frontline customer support. When people have a problem with your game, they go to the forum where they get yelled at by fanboys. Have you updated your drivers? Son, I update my drivers as soon as I'm made aware of a driver update. As soon as NVIDIA pops up the message, I update. So, yep, drivers are up to date. All right, so we'll get this emptied out, and then I will continue ranting about transport simulation. All right, there is that one. I'm going to pull up here a little bit, and we'll check the meters here. Let's see if we need to turn anything on. This might be automatic. We might need to activate something. So we'll go back here. And it says we've got, Yep, ingredient number 1, we got 7,000 liters. Next one would be soybeans, sunflower, or canola. Let's save the soybeans to sell because they're worth so much money. Let's sell our canola. We still have canola, do we not? Yes, we do. And then for corn, we can do corn, potato, or sugar beet. And we have corn. Okay. So yeah, we'll quickly make a couple trips over. How are we doing? 10 minutes. All right. We may get all of this done in one episode. I hope we do, because I would like to then go get our water tanker and take that down. We'll fill it at the sheep meadow, and then we'll take it down to the pigs. So, yeah, fern bus. I never got fern bus working, but I like fern bus. I like the idea that you pull the bus up to the station, to the stop. You get out, you open the doors underneath, you check everybody in, and then you drive. It seems like city to city. I didn't get it working long enough to actually like determine that, but I believe you go city to city, and there may be like intermediate stops at smaller places between big cities, but OMSI is just going a couple blocks and then people getting on and off the bus and selling them tickets, and the fact that OMSI, like Zusi, it seems focused more on the activity of driving a bus than it does on the immersive or sort of gaming aspect of it. And so the people getting on the bus are really, I guess they're modeled well enough, but I find them to be very distracting. It's got the sort of old school look where you've got a flat face texture wrapped around a cylinder. It's I find it to be distracting. I find it to be very immersion breaking, and it's a difficult game for me to get into, as much as the buses are extremely detailed. And then what was the other one? There's another one that has supposed to have like the most realistic bus physics and sounds. But I was not able to really get that going, and I wish I could have, because it seems like Fernbus strikes me in a lot of ways as it's like Truck Sim, right? Where you load up and then you go from one place to another and then you unload, versus OMSI 2 or Bus Driver Simulator 19, I believe they're up to, where you're just going a couple blocks at a time in really sort of unrealistic and not immersive cities. But I couldn't get Fernbus working. And so the last one that I need to try is Trains with a Z, and we'll see how that goes. It looks like early days of ETS, when the game was not, the environment was not super realistic, but it was immersive. So the city blocks when you look at an original map from ETS, the city blocks are not long enough, the turns are too sharp, the ramps to get on and off freeways are far too short. So it's almost as though they were designing a game world rather than a realistic world. And Trains has that same sort of stylized look to it, kind of a fairy tale look to it, where things are not entirely perfect as far as realism, but they are perfect visually or in terms of like game design. I might not be explaining that right. But that would be the next one I have to try. It's on super sale right now, and I saw a pack. It's 75% off. It's normally $300. It's on sale for $75, and it's a bunch of very cool content, DLC content. And I thought, oh yeah, let's check this out. And I caught myself just before I pulled the trigger on it, because it doesn't come with the base game itself. It's a DLC pack that does not include the base game. Most bundles include the base game, right? So had I bought this $75 pack of DLC, admittedly, it's really a $300 pack of DLC for $75. So it's an unbelievable discount. But had I bought that, then I would have had to turn around and buy the game. The game itself, as a standalone, is not on sale. That's a full $60. But if you buy a package, I don't know, you can get the game plus 2 DLC for $40. I'm not entirely clear. And of course, I went to Reddit and there's a lot of Trains has a lot of negative reviews and people saying it's more of a cash grab than what Dovetail is doing with Train Sim World. It is kind of an outdated game. It doesn't look very good. It doesn't play very good. There are a lot of crashes. This is what people are saying. I haven't tried it myself yet. And they just want to milk you for DLC. So we'll see. But essentially, I spent the weekend trying to figure out transport simulation. And a couple of them I thought I had working well enough to record a video. So then I'd spend, I don't know, a couple hours, multiple takes trying to record a 30-minute video and ended up with nothing. So that's why we've had kind of a gap in the roster, and we're back to farm. Last episode I posted, I believe, was the farm. But yeah, man, it's it's first world problems. I understand when I'm whining about some of this stuff. I know there's people all over the world that have much bigger problems than they're unable to find a realistic transport simulation video game for their YouTube channel. I get it. I know. And I am very much sympathetic to anybody, anywhere in the world who is having bad days. I'm very much sympathetic. I've been there. I've definitely been there. So I'm in no way minimizing what other people are going through. However, that was my weekend. Don't know what else to tell you. That was my struggle bus. So we'll figure it out. And there's some new titles coming up, and I'm really looking forward to those. I just saw Ride 4 is going to release in October, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Ride is a tricky franchise. I love it. I love the motorcycles that they have available for us to ride. Are we unloading? Why are we not unloading? I see the trigger. What's going on here? Unload. All right. Do we need to be there? Okay. We just needed to be further into the trigger. All right. It was giving it to me down below, but not quite working. All right. And before we drive back over, let us confirm one more time that we have the correct mix. So now we have food number 1, food number 2, and now we're going to add corn. Time, 18 minutes. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. If we don't buy pigs this episode, we'll buy them next episode. All right. So, yep, that's all that's going on. And what else? Yeah, and just racing. I got 4 career modes going on simultaneously, and that was probably a bit much. Now, the nice thing is it's all offline. So I'm not obligated to be anywhere or to do any particular race at any particular time. If I want to take a day off, I can totally do that. I know if you, like in iRacing, I guess would be the best example. If you're committed to a season, you're committed to a season. Well, I say you're committed to a season, but if you want to skip a race, skip a week, certainly you can. But you get, I'm not entirely clear on this. I never have been, but as far as I understand it, there are 12 weeks in a season, and for every race, it goes off every couple hours. All right, just hit a little collision right there. The races go off every couple hours, 24 hours a day for a week, and you can enter as many of them as you want, and then I guess your best points finish, right? Like your biggest I rating finish that's the race that you get points from that week, and then you total up the points at the end of the week. And I'm not entirely clear. I've never done well enough in any of those races to have it matter. I typically finish middle of the pack. I have a great time, but my I rating is pretty low. It's I rating is I rating and safety rating are two very different things. I race safely. I've got a 5.0 safety rating, but I really don't take a lot of chances. I drive very, very conservatively, and I find a lot of people do not. To the point where it's almost, I don't know. I feel like all it takes is one person in any race to not give a shit, and it turns it from a a very realistic sort of PvP online experience into just Gran Turismo Online. It's just a wreck fest, you know. Not wreck fest. I just mean wreck fest. You know, it just takes one person, late braking, dive bombing, lap one, turn one, and they take out half a dozen people, and now you got a bunch of people that have to pit for repairs, and they come out all red mist, so they're driving off their ass, and you know what I mean? It just, everything just blows apart. So I start from the pit and try to avoid all that, and that puts me at a tremendous disadvantage. I do find, though, that if you start from the pit, keep your wits about you, you'll finish middle of the pack without ever passing anybody. And we got corn. There we go. Yeah, I get some green flag passes. I get some natural passes. But most of my position gains are from people crashing out and people just quitting. Just turn the sim off, log off, what have you. Sorry, concentrating. But in the meantime, I'll keep working on my skills. I will say this about iRacing, is the physics are so good, and I would say so unique, that if you really want to be serious about it, I think you need to drive one car only. Well, you need to stay in iRacing as your sim. I don't think it's possible to jump around from sim to sim because the subtle differences in physics and handling. I think regardless of how you have your sims and your sim rig set up, your wheel, etc., regardless of how you have it set up so that all sims feel identical, they'll never really feel identical. And iRacing is so unique. I think to be very fast in iRacing, you pretty much need to just stay with iRacing and not bounce around from sim to sim as I do. And you need to stay in one car. And I don't do that. I have a lot of fun in offline racing, and I think I always will. And iRacing is it's too intense. I need to step away from it sometimes. So that's what's going on, and that's where I've been the past couple days. Just driving buses and driving race cars. You know how it goes. All right, I think we will have enough time to take this down to the mixer. Now, something else that I hadn't calculated for this episode is how long the mixer needs to operate. It seems unlikely that we'll dump this corn in there and we'll instantly have 20,000 liters of pig forage. I imagine this thing has to grind, so to speak, for the next few hours at least. So we wouldn't have had pig forage necessarily this episode anyway. So what we'll do is we'll get this thing topped off. We'll go pick up our water tank, we'll fill it at the sheep meadow, and we'll take it down to the pigs and look for the water trigger. I think I found it already. There's a blue tank out back with, it looks like a water gauge on the side of it, a level gauge, sight glass, however you want to call it. I think that is our trigger for water. I assume it is. And I also bought 8 hay bales. I'm sorry, straw bales. I bought 8 straw bales. I assume we'll need straw for the pigs as well. I took them down carefully. I took them down, and I had to take the skid steer down to get those unloaded. And so we will look for our straw trigger today if we have time. If not, next episode we'll be buying pigs and getting them all sorted out with water and straw and food, etc. All right, so we'll weigh ourselves here. I always forget to do this, but I figure the scales are in the game, right? Why not use them? Save game. All right, getting close. 24 minutes. It's a race. All right. So now back this up carefully. Little slow motion reverse tank slapper there. There we are. Once again, looking for the trigger. Sir. All right. They seem to be, Each one seems further back. So the first one was, we were significantly closer to the road when we did our first delivery. And then the canola, we had to fish around a little bit. I think the 3 triggers may be like side by side by side. I don't know if you have to do that when you're putting everything into one mix. All right, now, do we have to turn this thing on? We should probably open commands panel. No, that's something else. Manual charging, automatic charging. I don't know. That's creator tools. That's creator tools. And then we have manual filling. Let's do this. Let's turn the engine off here because we're running some Black Panther mods, and I believe we will burn up time on our oil change. All right, I'm going to speed up time a little bit. Let's see if we get any volume here. Yep. Okay. So that is automatic. We don't have to turn it on. And we're back to time accelerate 1. Where we at on time? 26 minutes. Enough time to go grab our water tanker, fill it, and take it down to the pigs, and we'll call it. Next episode, we'll be buying pigs and getting them all settled into their new home. Perfect. This all works out. Yeah, I think this makes more sense than cows. If we went with cows, we would have to buy more hay bales. We would have to buy silage bales. I don't think I have a mod to buy TMR. I might, though. Yep, I do. We have the big bags mod, and we can buy cow food. But regardless, we'd have to spend... We wouldn't be able to use crop that we have in the silos, as we're doing for the pigs. And so all we needed to buy that we don't have was straw bales, and that was $3,000 for 8 bales, and they'll last us because we're not going to have enough money to buy very many pigs to start with. So our total investment, other than the pigs themselves, is 3,000 pounds, and that's a lot better than what we would need to do for cows. So I think that makes sense. And if we, I guess we could have sold the crops that we had in the silos and use the profit from that, the revenue from that, to buy food for the cows. But I don't know. It's just, this seems to make more sense. And we're getting crop out of the silos. And I always like to do that. I forget that. I swear, man. Every new save game that I start, every new map that I start, I forget that we have, in addition to the money that we get when we sell all the equipment to buy new stuff or stuff that we prefer, I forget that we've always got, I don't know, between like probably 20 and 75,000 pounds in the silos that we could sell immediately and get some revenue for. Right, so I'm going to drop this here just to be quick, and we'll go grab our water tanker and fill it, take it down to the pigs. Beautiful. I know this map is the roads are too small for traffic, but there's always that I Am Legend vibe when you're on a map with absolutely no movement. It's something that really, I wouldn't say it puts me off, but yeah, it's sort of, I don't know, maybe it does put me off. In SnowRunner, MudRunner, Spin Tires, the fact that nothing is moving on the map. It is just us. And I mean, if anything, if I was the game designer, I think maybe I would play that up a little bit. And I don't mean like some kind of zombie apocalypse vibe, but I think if it was me, I might, like, I don't know, try to have a laugh or something about the fact that there's nothing else on the map. All right, so we're going to fill this. It's already got quite a bit in it, so we'll do what we did with the sheep last episode. We'll just go to 50%. I think that's enough. Yeah, that's enough to get started. I don't think it'll take very much. It might not take anything at all because we don't have any pigs, and the allowable volume, like the 3-day volume, hasn't been set yet. So it may not take a whole lot. All right, down the road. Yeah, you know what I mean. On games that have no movement, I think I might if I was a game developer, try to somehow explain that. Does that make sense? You know, that there's a reason why you're the only person moving. But there are maps with, I don't know, some life in them. I'm really looking forward to whether it's in FS2X, whatever the next full version of Farm Simulator is, or if there is a competitor, if Cattle and Crops can get themselves together and ever finish that game. But that there would be an entire sort of living world around you. So as it stands right now in Farm Sim, fields are owned by other farmers, and crops appear in them, and then they disappear from them. And you can take jobs. You know though, all this. You know about Farm Sim. You can take jobs for those farmers. You can do things. Okay, and we do have, there's a water fill point right there. So it's no big deal that we filled this at the sheep meadow, but we can fill it here as well. But what I would love to see in Farm Sim, in this Farm Sim franchise, in any Farm Sim franchise, what I would love to see is those farms actually have life to them. There are things going on there. So rather than a crop just appearing in your neighbor's field, that some sunny morning you would see your neighbor out there planting that field, or harvesting that field, or hauling grain to market, or whatever the activity may be, that you would see those things happening, and it would add some life to the map. All right, unload. So if we go here, can we fill this entire tank? I'm curious if we can or not. We certainly seem to be. Okay, just a little bit, but that's enough. That's enough. All right, and I'm going to come over here. I don't know. I'll figure out a screenshot off camera, but I think, yep, that's it. 32 minutes. So we've got food ready, and we've got water ready. We've got straw bales right there. So next episode, we'll buy some pigs, and we'll bring them down here and get things going. There you have it. Thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 17. This is Gwenddwr. We'll see you next time. Take care now.